So far, what we have seen is that how Docker basically provides a list of, MCP servers, and then, we can use these MCP servers in order to basically, run through any of the client and then do a lot of variety of tasks. In the previous video, we saw about adding a YouTube transcript, MCP server into place. Now, what we're going to see is what about actually working with Docker. As a DevOps engineer, you might want to know about what containers are running, what are the images which is in your laptop. As you can see, so much bunch of images which is there. Or you might want to basically look forward to the volumes as well. What are the different volumes which is running? Now, the idea is that how do we actually convert these operations as part of my agentic ecosystem? So we don't have a Docker MCP yet, like proper Docker MCP. We do have a Docker Hub MCP, which is officially been provided by the Docker in generic. Either we create our own MCP or we can use Kend. We'll continue to use Kend to basically use a specific set of the skill set which is already present in the marketplace. So go to the skills marketplace and you'll find out a Docker skill which is already there. All you just have to do is you just go across and install it. Once you install it, you'll go to the MCP, right? And you'll find out this Docker is already added. Now, for the generic one, obviously you can just, switch on, switch off based upon your requirement. If you have worked perfectly fine, then you'll find out there are like a bunch of 48 different tools for there, a variety of the tasks. If you can see a green option, which means it's working fine. Now what we do is like we go to an agentic mode and we ask a question. Can you tell me the list of all the Docker containers which are running and its size, and if we can optimize the size? Now what we did is like we asked our Ken, which is running obviously GPT 5.5, to basically work around this. Now, when you basically ask a question, it basically saw that which tool I'm supposed to use. Obviously, there's a list container which is there, tools which is already being attached to it. So it identified the list of tool, identified what task it's supposed to do, and we'll be able to see a result in just few minutes. So as you can see, we have a list of containers which Docker is already running. Okay, so it says that there is some sort of an error, which means error executing two containers. And we don't have to worry. Like what it basically try to do is to see what are the other part which is basically there. Now the idea is that how do you call a tool is a lot depend upon the kind of the LM model that you are using. If you're using a LM model which is agent optimized, then obviously it will basically be giving you a much better option. If you're using a model which is not agent optimized, then obviously you'll have to completely rely upon the LLM to basically detect. So a lot thought process basically depends upon how the LLM is making a call. Now you see in this part why it basically gives an error, because when LLM was specified that in the input value it might have to specify some command or something internally. Then instead of that, it basically passed on some sort of a string, which means contain the list, whatever the prompt that we added, it kind of added the same thing as part of the input, which obviously was something which is not optimized. However, but since gains is something which it kinds of work with multiple parameters, so obviously it validated that okay, there's some sort of an error. It basically switched to a terminal mode, which means it's trying to run through some sort of a terminal command to basically see if it's able to get it, or not. This time, it's not the Docker MCP which is running. Okay, it has basically, had a fallback plan inside the kernel, which basically tries to obtain the optimization. When I tried optimization, it again is trying to recover and try to learn from its past mistake and trying to basically, run the same thing again. It, it's the same, error. It'll try to do it multiple times before it can further come back with a solid answer to us. As far the output is concerned, as you can see, it already ran this terminal command for getting some container name. It ran through this usage command, right? So this one seems like it's running perfectly fine in our generic itself. Okay, so now it basically worked. And as you can see, we have a list of containers which is there, right? So somehow Kendra will obviously identify the type, the containers, try to identify them, try to identify the images size, what is total size of the image, what's the reclaimable size which is available, and things around it. So that's all with the agentic ecosystem, which we can actually go across and try out to automate a lot of our Docker related activity, the Docker MCPs, and through using a right client altogether. Thank you. See you in the next video.